Hello there and welcome to The World Today on Channels Television. I'm Cynthia Are. And the suspense continues with the Oscar Pistorius verdict. He's not guilty of premeditated murder, but he's been found guilty of culpable homicide and will be sentenced on October the 13th. That's the same day when his bail extension, which was also granted to him by the judge today, will expire.
For 43 days, the world has watched with attention and wondered what the fate of Oscar Pistorius would be after he shot and killed his girlfriend, Viva Steenkamp. The judge, Thokozela Masipa, listened to all the counts leveled against the Blade Runner, and on day 42, she began delivering her judgment against the accused. Many people were not satisfied with the judge's decision in ruling out premeditated murder, and they felt sympathy for the family of the deceased.
The family has lost their loved one, and somebody must take responsibility and the charge for this incident. Therefore, I personally feel for the family of Steenkamp and feel that the judge might come to a decision which is fair to the whole thing.
Hopefully, for the parents, he will get just a few years. I know it's not going to bring her back, but shame. It's not good for the parents. I know how they feel.
He should stay in jail because it just shows that money can buy you freedom if judge doesn't send him to prison for a long time.
Today, the judge read what was left from her summary of events, and as she was about to deliver her judgment, mutterings and the nervousness took over the courtroom. Those who were anticipating that he would be found guilty of culpable homicide got their wish.
Having regard to the totality of this evidence in this matter, the unanimous decision of this court is the following. 1. On count 1, murder read with section 51(1) of the Criminal Law Amendment Act 105 of 1997, the accused is found not guilty and is discharged. Instead, he is found guilty of culpable homicide. On count 2, contravention of section 127 of the Firearms Control Act, number 60 of 2000, and the alternative count, that is contravention of section 123B of the same act, the accused is found not guilty and discharged.
Masipa took into account the fact that Pistorius was sufficiently trained in the use of firearms when reaching her guilty verdict on the charge of discharging a weapon in a public place.
120, subsection 7, alternatively count 120, subsection 3A, and further alternatively, section 120, subsection 3B of the Firearms Control Act, number 60 of 2000, the accused is found guilty of the second alternative, that is the contravention of section 120, 3B. Guilty.
Pistorius was, however, cleared of firing a pistol out of the sunroof of a car and illegal possession of ammunition. It appeared to be nothing close to a Black Friday for the athlete. After a brief recess, the judge came out to talk about his bail extension.
Counsel for the defense submitted that Fresco was not entitled to a discharge from prosecution in terms of the sections set out above for a number of reasons. He submitted inter alia the following. 1. Fresco's evidence was contradictory and improbable, if not impossible, in demonstrating the proximity of his head to that of the accused when he was informing the accused that the firearm was one up.
It's now been 43 days, but come October the 13th, it will be day 44. And depending on what the judge has to say when she delivers a sentence, there might be more days ahead.
That is
Pistorius, the double amputee who became one of the biggest names in athletics, said he shot dead model and law graduate Steenkamp by accident, believing her to be an intruder.
Now, for more on the Oscar Pistorius story, I'm being joined live by our correspondent, Betty Dibia, who is in Pretoria. Betty, thank you so much for speaking with us again on The World Today. Now, I would just like to ask you how South Africans... Thank you for joining us, Betty. I was just asking how South Africans are reacting to today's proceedings.
Well, I guess they got a taste of what will happen yesterday, so the reactions are still the same. A lot of people had their money on a murder verdict, but of course that didn't happen, and those who have been ardent supporters of Oscar Pistorius, quite a number of them have been coming to court from day one, wearing T-shirts, holding up banners. They're happy and so sensitive to the fact that a family has lost a daughter, but the debate is still there. And funny enough, a lot of the division comes from the legal practitioners who, some of whom I spoke with were quite disappointed. They expected something else, a different verdict. And some believe that the judge, who a lot of people say is the most judge at the moment in the whole world, she's overlooked a lot of things that should have been taken into account in getting to the verdict that she did. And also today, the issue of the extension of his 1 million rand bail, which he got, and he's been walking free pending the outcome of the court case. Now he's going to still be free. People expected him to be arrested today, to be remanded in custody, pending the sentencing, which would happen on the 13th of October. But the judge didn't buy the argument of the state, which says that because he sold his property and he doesn't really have ties, he could flee. The judge insisted that he poses no flight risk, so his bail extension was granted.
Now, Betty, any idea on if this case could have any impact on the South Africa justice system, the way it's perceived?
The justice system here is quite solid, and as in most justice systems, case after case provides a precedent for other cases. I'm not a legal expert, but there is no how the outcome of this case or the way it was handled will not be cited in other cases. And the people who are arguing here that